You can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby open the combined public meeting of the examination committees of Information Security Technology and Data Science and Engineering. My name is Johan Lukking. I'm the Dean of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, and these two programs are part of our department. It's a pleasure to welcome you and the candidates to this graduation event. We are, as a department, proud that another 10 of our students will receive their diploma today and become a Master of Science. We offer these students a rich variety of advanced courses given by excellent teachers. And they did a challenging graduation project. And we think they are now well prepared for a career in science, a career in industry, or perhaps they make their own business. Let's go to official part. The examination committee of IST has assessed the work of the following candidates: Roy van Leeuwen and Julian van der Heijden. The examination committee for Data Science and Engineering has assessed the work of the following candidates: Wouter van de Bemt, Rob van Gastel, Wie Chu, Olaf Morra, Wouter Nuiten, Wim Suikerbuik, Sam Smetsers en Elise van der Wildenberg. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce all your names correctly. It's also not always, sometimes a challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, candidates, Masters of Science, I'm pleased to say that you all passed your exams and will therefore receive your diploma shortly. This entitles you to use the title Master of Science, but also the Dutch ingenieur. Next, the graduation advisors of the candidates will hand over the diplomas along with a short speech. And I will not further introduce them, but the names will show on the screen. And with that, I give the word to the first candidate, Roy van Leeuwen, and his advisor, Dr. Alodi.
Hi, Roy. How are you? Long time no see. I think I checked the first email that you sent me was something like 2018 or so. We've known each other for a long time. It's been 4 years now. It's almost all of my semi-tenured period here at UA. It's lovely to see you in person. And for such a happy occasion as well. So dear audience, Roy has worked on in the very difficult, always difficult and challenging domain of security. His focus was on what do you do when you know that somebody is attacking your infrastructure, especially in these times? I'm sure you all have heard of cyber attacks going on, getting into infrastructures, installing ransomware, stealing data, ruining businesses altogether. And lots of the focus in the industry has been around the detection of these things, which bad news is typically arrives way too late, the damage is already there, and things went south already. So Roy identified that problem and said, well, no, but detection is not good enough, right? You also need to contain it. When you have evidence that something weird is going on, you must stop the attack altogether. But there is no clear way of doing this. There is no clear direction, even in the scientific literature, but more so in industry and in practice. And so Roy decided to build a very clear framework that maps essentially what actions you have to take whenever you see something of those weird cyber attacks going on, evidence of this weird activity going on, and mapping it to what actuators, as he calls them, can in fact take action and stop the attack before it's too late, which is the real key difference between having a secure environment and one that, well, you know, it was insecure 2 months too late, which is not great. So you build this framework. You also interacted with several experts beyond our small team, let's say, that built large confidence on the validity and the completeness of this framework, which is always extremely important when you build methodologies that have then to be reapplied to any sort of environment. And then you also tested it against real attacks, right? Some on the very high profiles, nation-level attacks, some on the attack on the University of Maastricht, and thank goodness there was no TU Eindhoven use case study to apply your test against, with very good results, showing that the framework is clearly very applicable and that given certain circumstances, it would be really actionable. It's been a great pleasure for me to work with you. We've been in touch, unfortunately, only remotely for such a long time, but it's been a great experience also for me because I learned things from you, not only on the technical side, but also on the human side. And the way in which you were always able to be up and take feedback and implement it and understand it and make it yours and coming back with a modified version of whatever is it that was being discussed there reminded me of some important lessons in life. And for that, I want to thank you. And with that, I also would like to renew my congratulations to you, first with your diploma, and then with a lovely, sure. Was my error, I need to solve.
Gefeliciteerd. Beste Julian, toen je bij me aanklopte om een afstudeeropdracht te vinden, wist ik eigenlijk niet waarom je daarvoor bij mij was aangekomen. Eigenlijk heb ik het je ook nooit gevraagd, maar in 2019 had je mijn mastervak Program Verification Techniques gevolgd, dus ik neem aan dat het om die reden was. Je wist nog niet goed wat voor opdracht je wilde gaan doen, maar je was al eerder aan een project begonnen en die ervaring was niet bevallen. Na een gesprek had je gekozen voor de opdracht voor failboxes, of moet ik in een Nederlandse speech het hebben over faaldozen, en transactional memory, of transactioneel geheugen. Die opdracht was een heel praktische, maar ook uitdagende opdracht. De failbox-constructie was bedacht aan de Katholieke Universiteit Leuven door Jacobs en Piesens en daarna verder ontwikkeld in het Z-cluster hier in Eindhoven. Wanneer je een parallel programma ontwikkelt, waarbij verschillende berekeningen onafhankelijk van elkaar moeten worden uitgevoerd in verschillende threads, draadjes, om maar bij het Nederlands te blijven, kunnen er problemen ontstaan wanneer een thread onverwacht stopt en andere threads afhankelijk zijn, die daarvan afhankelijk zijn, en andere threads afhankelijk zijn van die gestopte thread. Idealiter krijgen die andere threads te horen van deze onverwachte terminatie, maar dat is lang niet altijd het geval en heel moeilijk te garanderen. De failbox is als het ware een doos waar je threads met onderlinge afhankelijkheden instopt, waarbij de doos garandeert dat in zo'n geval wel alle threads op de hoogte worden gesteld. Alleen, wat gebeurt er dan vervolgens in zo'n situatie? Alle threads in de failbox worden gestopt. Een nogal rigoureuze reactie. Jij hebt onderzocht wat de mogelijke alternatieven zijn. Zoals ik al had gezegd, was mijn vermoeden dat transactional memory hier een rol in zou kunnen spelen. De eerste stap was om een recente, goed onderhouden implementatie te vinden van transactional memory, want de ontwikkeling daarvan is zeer complex en op zichzelf al meer werk dan een masterproject zou zijn. In deze fase was ik wat voorzichtig. Ik had al eerder studenten laten zoeken naar zulke implementaties, maar dat leverde nooit echt iets op. De implementaties die er waren te oud en werkten niet meer goed. Hier leerde ik dat je grondig onderzoek kunt doen, want jij wist wel een geschikte implementatie te vinden. Daarmee kon het project echt beginnen. Het was geen eenvoudig project. Transactional memory is een systeem dat gebruikt kan worden in parallelle programma's, waarbij berekeningen van één thread kunnen worden teruggedraaid als een andere thread daarmee in conflict is, omdat hij andere berekeningen doet met dezelfde data. Deze twee concepten, failbox en transactional memory, zouden elkaar kunnen versterken. Zodra een failbox een fout detecteert, geeft hij niet de opdracht aan alle threads om te stoppen, maar om hun berekeningen terug te draaien. Maar wat is daarbij mogelijk? En wat voor garanties kunnen er worden gegeven wanneer we deze combinatie hebben? Jij bestudeerde de Transactional Memory Library, wat geen makkelijke materie is. En je hebt een combinatie van de twee ontwikkeld. Daarbij merkte je op dat de originele failbox-garanties niet meer geboden werden, maar je werkte aan nog een combinatie om dit te verhelpen. Daarnaast was het probleem hoe je deze nieuwe failbox kon testen. We hadden al tests voor de originele failbox, maar met het complexere gedrag moesten de tests ook complexer worden. Je hebt een interessante testsuite ontwikkeld, waarmee de zwakheden van de nieuwe failbox effectief konden worden aangetoond. Onze meetings waren meestal online, wat niet ideaal is, maar ik heb je in het project leren kennen als een serieus en grondig persoon, die ook in die omstandigheden prima wist te presteren. Wat je aanpakt, wil je heel goed aanpakken. Dit levert je ook de nodige stress op. Toen ik je vroeg om een midterm-presentatie te geven voor onze groep, waarin je halverwege je project presenteert wat je bevindingen zijn, zag ik je in de stress schieten. Toch heb je uiteindelijk de presentatie prima gegeven. Ook toen het tijd werd om je resultaten op papier te gaan zetten, had je het zichtbaar moeilijk. Schrijven gaat je moeilijk af, zo zeg je zelf, en je riep hulp in bij vrienden en familie om je een zetje te geven. Ik weet niet wat uiteindelijk hun bijdrage was, maar de stukken tekst die je me aanleverde waren eigenlijk altijd van hoog niveau. Je legt voor jezelf de lat erg hoog en maakt het dan vooral jezelf moeilijk, althans zo zie ik het. Probeer daaraan te werken in de toekomst. Julian, ik heb geen enkele twijfel dat je een uitstekende carrière tegemoet gaat. Voor zover ik weet, heb je nog niet besloten wat je precies wilt gaan doen. Wat dat ook wordt, ik wens je daar veel succes bij.
Wouter, your supervisor Joachim wasn't able to come, but he asked me to read a few words from his side. Dear Wouter, congratulations on getting your degree. Your studies have shown to be very fruitful, both in a figurative and a literal sense. If people all over the world will be able to buy high-quality tomatoes, lettuce, and other vegetables, this may, in part, be because of your work. In case the audience is curious, Wouter did his thesis on reinforcement learning, a kind of artificial intelligence to automate the control of greenhouses, making sure that all plants get the right amount of light, CO2, nutrients, all under ideal temperature. This is a tricky problem since plants need different amounts of this with their growth cycle. The weather varies, each greenhouse is different, and farmers need to keep costs as low as possible. Reinforcement learning is a way to learn from experience what actions to take at each point in time to provide optimal growing conditions. The problem is that we can't just let robots run around in greenhouses. We simulate greenhouses in a computer and train agents this way. The problem with that is that agents trained in simulations don't always work well in the real world, a problem we call the simulation to reality gap. Wouter worked specifically on this problem. He experimented with different techniques to bridge this gap, for instance, by introducing a second adversarial agent that tries to sabotage the first agent, thus forcing it to be more robust, or by randomizing the physics in the simulation, in this case, randomly changing physics parameters such as light intensity, glass reflectance, and heat transfer. The results were rather impressive, in some cases doubling the revenues for farmers. With more research and development, this may lead to cheaper and more reliable food in the future. What struck me most about Wouter is his enthusiasm and result orientation. During his thesis work, he participated in a challenge together with research teams from all over the Netherlands. Also, he experimented relentlessly and extensively, simulating a wide range of different greenhouses to make sure, as much as possible, that his techniques would also work in the real world. He's also an excellent communicator. During his defense, he explained things so well that the public audience kept asking questions. We, the jury, were getting worried that there is no more questions to ask for ourselves. There's a smiley face here. Now, the time of getting examined all the time is over. Or getting examined all the time is over. You're now a master in your own right, and I'm sure that you'll help to make the world a better place. Congratulations.
Yes, go ahead.
No? See if I have the right speech, just in case. Yes. Hi, Rob. Congratulations. So, same thing. You've been supervised by Joaquin, but he asked me to read something for you. Dear Rob, I hope you're enjoying this special day because you truly deserve it. You were one of the most resourceful, ambitious, and persevering students I had the pleasure to work with this year. You were also very self-driven, so it often felt as if I was supervising a PhD student rather than a master's student. I really enjoyed working with you. That you're ambitious is clear from the topic that you chose. You worked on techniques to automate the building of neural networks for deep learning, and especially for scenarios where very little training data is available. For the audience, this is a very hard problem since the space of plausible neural networks is very large, and even deep learning experts need to do a lot of trial and error experiments to find good models in many cases. Rob showed this problem solved this problem by constructing a network of all possible networks and then learning which options usually work better than others. For a given set of problems, this is called learning to learn or meta-learning. Next, given a new problem, for example, classifying new types of images, the method will fine-tune both the neural network architecture and its weights in parallel to find a good model to solve the problem, finding an efficient neural network in a very efficient way. Initially, our goal was to train a reinforcement learning agent to fine-tune these neural network architectures, much like a human would, but you quickly discovered the current techniques for fine-tuning the model architectures and weights were too unstable to get a clear enough signal. Therefore, you decided to first make these methods more stable. You tried a wide range of regularization techniques and discovered which worked best. This kind of initiative is exemplary. You didn't take the state-of-the-art for granted, but you improved upon it when you noticed it was necessary to achieve your goals. This initiative and perseverance was also rewarded. You wrote a paper about it, and it was accepted at the Automated Machine Learning Conference in the USA, where you will present it in a few weeks' time. Not many students can show similar success. If anything, I am a bit sad that you chose to move to industry, but luckily it was with a company that we often work with, so I'm sure that we'll continue to work together in one way or another. Keep up the good work, stay hungry, stay ambitious. I'm sure we'll see many more great things from you. Congratulations.
Hi, V. Congratulations to your degree.
Thank you.
So, V, we met, well, at least, we had lots of interactions in the process mining courses and then in the seminar. And in the seminar, especially towards the end, you became really active, started asking lots of questions and leading lots of discussions. And that kind of made me realize what a brilliant student and person you are. So when you were started to look for a topic, I directed you to Van der Lande. It's a company where we're doing a large research project with. And I told them, look, I have this fantastic student, and would you like to interview her for a master project? Then they invited you, and then they told me, yeah, she didn't really convince us. And then I told them, okay, then I'm going to hire her directly for my own project. Oh, no, we're going to hire her immediately. So, and I think half an hour later they called you or sent you an email, and then, yes, now you have a detail. So, and I think nobody regretted that you started on this project. Because you work on an incredibly complicated problem. Airports, they've all been in the news, but you looked at the different parts of an airport, not where there's so many people, but when the bags are transported from the check-in to the airplane, they go through a very complicated automated system. And the particular kinds of airports you looked at, the bags are put into large yellow tubs, and then they sit inside this tub and kind of the standardized container that moves these bags around through X-ray scanning and bag store and so on. You see them there. Ooh. And the problem is, if you want to put a bag into such a yellow tub, there has to be a yellow tub for the bag to put in. And that means the system has to be aware where are tubs needed and where they have to move. And this is a very complicated optimization problem, which Van der Lande at the moment does by programming controllers in very complicated ways, but nobody really knew what was actually going on in the system. So they had a feeling that things were not going really well. And the very simple problem that you were given was find out. The tool I gave you were event knowledge graphs. That's the thing you see there on the right, a big complicated graph. It didn't look that nice and pretty at the time I gave it to you. Because I just knew this concept would apply there. But the organization had no experience with it. No other company had applied this concept before. You were the very first to try out, to industrialize this idea. So you went deep into the organization, talked to many people, tried to figure out what even is a useful tool for an engineer to understand how these tubs move around and to configure it. You developed this kind of graph and many visualizations on top of it. And what it does is it integrates data from many different parts of the system, how bags move, how tubs move, how controllers make routing decisions, in one structure that is easy to understand. And when you showed these visualizations to the different engineers, they immediately understood and saw value. Then I asked you to make a video of how this all works, and I presented it to the management team of Van der Lande here at TUE when they did a research visit. And they were very convinced that this is an important tool to develop further. So in short, you had outstanding results that had a huge impact on the company and also on the future research that I'm doing. Working with you was a pure joy, I have to say. You always really threw yourself into the problem. You owned it. You were fully prepared at all times. You asked difficult questions, but the right questions. You were always motivated. It was just great to work with you. Of course, Van der Lande realized the early mistake and then asked you to work with them, and you accepted. And I hope to still continue working with you in one form or another on these very difficult problems. Keep the spirit and your creativity and the amazing engineering skills you have. They will lead you to a very successful career. Congratulations again.
Hi, Olaf.
congratulations. Congratulations on making your way through your studies to a well-earned and well-deserved master's degree and title of engineer. I have to say, from the very beginning until the very end, it was a real pleasure to get to know you, to get to work with you, and to learn from you through your projects. And indeed, Olaf, you and I had several projects together. So our work started with a very successful internship research project at Amazon, right? So the industry leader in cloud-based graph data management systems, which in the end was the general theme of all of your work in your graduation phase. And there, the work that you formalized, I guess that was more than a year ago, of a core fragment of the upcoming ISO standard GQL for graph databases. And you also developed the first public interpreter. And this work remains, to my knowledge, the only open source work on this important emerging topic. And in fact, it continues to have impact. 2 weeks ago, I was at the LDBC TUC in Philadelphia, and we were discussing your interpreter and pointing new people to your work in lots of different companies, trying to understand this new draft. So kudos for just the internship research project that you did prior to your graduation project. So after the success, we also presented this to the GQL chairs. You chose a very difficult and challenging problem for your thesis project, kind of switching gears from the design of query languages to their engineering. And so you picked up the project of how to engineer a practical implementation of answer graphs for accelerated graph query evaluation. So answer graphs are a compression mechanism to control the explosion of intermediate result sizes while processing real queries on real data. Yeah, and furthermore, you continue this work in collaboration with the folks at Amazon, who were very happy already with your internship work. There, the challenges were to cope with both formalizing what an answer graph is, which up to this point in the literature was just an intuitive notion, as well as actually engineering methods, systematic methods for bringing this thing into practice, and particularly looking at construction of answer graphs. You succeeded fully in addressing both of these challenges, and also you provided an in-depth experimental study showing the success of your methods to distinguish good execution plans from bad plans. This required development of sophisticated new methods, which really advanced the state of the art in graph query processing, really kind of at the core of challenges there. Overall, this whole process, almost all of it was online, almost exclusively online. Still, working with you was a really pleasant and smooth experience. I really enjoyed our regular meetings online. I really recall happily your focused efforts, carried out with a high level of independence and creativity through the internship and the graduation project. You're clearly very hardworking, you're very self-motivated, even in the face of technical and scientific challenges. I hardly ever saw you, maybe I never even saw you sweat once. You always had a smile on your face. You're not only an excellent and knowledgeable programmer, you can build things, you're an engineer, but you can also readily grasp and digest the bigger picture, the literature, what's happening in industry, and also even abstract theoretical details. So, I'm very happy to have been involved with your work. And I also speak today on behalf of Nikolai and Michael, your co-supervisors here in Eindhoven and also in Amazon in Seattle. And I can really only hope that I'll be lucky enough to continue to work with students of your high caliber. So Olaf, I wish you the best of luck and success in your next steps after graduation and in your future career. I'm sure you're going to continue having lots of fun. Just please keep in touch and let me know about your next discoveries. Thanks, Olaf.
Dear Wouter, congratulations on your graduation. You've graduated with a cum laude, a great success. Congratulations again. For your final graduation project, you worked on developing a model that can process future data coming from the CERN CMS high granularity calorimeter. Your work is very exciting because it demonstrates the impact that artificial intelligence has on other sciences, in particular particle physics. AI has had an influence on many industries and computer science-related fields, but more recently it has started having a major impact on other scientific fields as well. AI is revolutionizing data analysis and computer simulation tools that the scientists in other fields are relying on. Your work specifically focused on the analysis of the data that future particle collider sensors are expected to receive. For this work, you had to work across 2 fields and extend the state-of-the-art of machine learning. Not surprisingly, to achieve this, you had to overcome a number of challenges. For one, you were faced with a group of experimental physicists that, so to say, spoke a slightly different language. It took quite some time to bridge the gap between how they spoke and thought about the problem that we wanted to model and how we understood the data that we were looking at. As a result of your positive attitude and grit, you managed to overcome these challenges. You connected the 2 groups of experts, developed a novel solution, and delivered great results. Quite a success. Congratulations. This speaks a lot about your attitude towards challenges and your work ethics. I have no doubts you will continue to face and overcome future challenges in your PhD that you plan to start at TUE. It's not at Computer Science Department, but nevertheless, we're very happy that you're joining our university and looking forward to your many future successes. Finally, it was a great pleasure working with you, and congratulations again, Wouter, and much success in the future. Moment.
Dear Pim, so I'm presenting today on behalf of your supervisor, Mikola Pecineski, and also co-supervisor Stephen, who I see snuck in here after finishing some teaching up this afternoon. So Mikola and Stephen have prepared a speech, which I will read aloud. So dear Pim, congratulations with the successful completion of your master's studies. You chose to do your graduation project at ASML, where they offered you a challenging research project. So predicting abnormal system behavior using shuffled messages logged from incredibly complex and expensive lithography machines. So Pim, you focused on identifying relationships between unexpected disturbances and ASML error logs. And this later became the title of your thesis. Thus, you had to tackle a challenging problem whose solution is paramount to ASML. You've paraphrased the challenge into a maxim. So errors are all you need. And you worked hard on developing a practical solution that can deal with messy data containing those error messages. You were a fast-paced student, and you were able to quickly implement new ideas, and many new ideas, as a matter of fact, and deliver interesting results. As an anecdote, at some point, the throughput of the available hardware was no longer compatible with your productivity. And there was a legitimate concern in the team of you burning a computer, literally, while running your experiments. Well, as it happens, sometimes in curiosity-driven research, some completely unplanned and unexpected findings come out of your research, in the end, that were valued a lot by the company. So jokes aside, Pim, you've completed a solid project. The success of your hard work is self-evident. And congratulations on joining ASML as a research engineer. We are confident that you'll further contribute to the company's business. It was a pleasure to supervise your graduation project, Pim. Congratulations again, and all the best in your future career. Okay, Sam. I'm also representing someone else, your supervisor, Nikolai Yakovets, who couldn't make it today. So Nikolai has provided a text for you, which I'll read. So, dear Sam, it's my pleasure to celebrate your graduation with you, if only in spirit. So Sam, you worked on a challenging topic in graph query optimization. In your work, you aim to attack a crucial bottleneck in evaluation of graph queries by proposing methods of handling very large intermediate results during query evaluation, very similar to Olaf's general challenge. And indeed, the exploding intermediate results are inherent to processing of graph queries due to the natural abundance of many-to-many relationships between graph entities, which in turn result in exponentially many paths between them. So storing these connections in an uncompressed flat table quickly becomes infeasible as query execution progresses on a large and potentially dense network. So to address this, you studied methods of compression of large intermediate results by employing a recently proposed factorization technique. And towards this, you proposed crucial improvements to several components of the factorization pipeline, achieving even better query evaluation performance than was possible before. Your experimental findings that came out of your work are extremely promising and are a welcome addition in the arsenal of tools for efficient graph data management for our ever-growing data volumes. So Sam, you defended a very good thesis and you made lasting contributions in our work in the database research group. I wish you the best in the next steps of your personal and career development, and please keep in touch. And thank you again for this great, fruitful, and fun collaboration. Thank you, Sam.
Les, you are done. Yes. Congratulations on completing your master's degree. I had the pleasure of working with you in a couple of different stages in your studies, and I can say with absolute confidence that you deserve this degree. Our first interaction was, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago when you took the course Data-Intensive Systems and Applications. Fast forward a couple of years, what happened? You attended my master's course, you wrote a workshop paper out of your capital selecta together with Wouter, and you completed your thesis with me as well. So your thesis in particular was quite insightful for me. Why? Because you took a very important problem and a very old problem as well that was with the databases from the early beginning. How do you discover linkages in the data in the form of inclusion dependencies? And even though it was so much worked already, the problem, and there were so many solutions, you discovered something quite surprising, that the existing solutions are not optimal for MPP, for Spark-like platforms, for massively parallel processing platforms. So you designed, you implemented new algorithms for the problem, and you showed with experiments that you beat the state of the art, quite significantly, I have to say. So that was a good result. Well done. In terms of our collaboration, it was always very pleasant, very smooth. I truly enjoyed working with you, and I learned quite a few things from our collaboration also in terms of science and in terms of interacting with people. So now the only thing that remains is to congratulate you once more for your graduation, for your degree, and to wish you all the success in your next steps. I hope you keep visiting us, you keep in touch, and I'm very interested to hear about the new challenges that you will face at your company, at CZ. And this?
I now call Wietske de Bond, the chairman of our study association, Gewis.
Dear students, family members, friends, and other attendees. Let me start with introducing myself. My name is Wieske de Bond, and I'm the current chair of the study association GEWIS for Mathematics and Computer Science. And today is a special day. Today is the day it's your official graduation day and you've received your master's degree. But also, on this day, 45 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. got awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This is a medal to recognize people who've made a praiseworthy contribution to a greater good. In a similar fashion, today is the day that you get awarded for all your hard work and contribution to your own sense of freedom. Since at this point in time, you can choose what to do in your life. It's a new chapter. Either you maybe will start at a PhD here at the university, or continue or start in the industry and take on a lot of new chances and possibilities to achieve more goals. And I'm curious what someone will tell you when they give a speech to you in 30 years and all the goals you've accomplished and the things you've reached. But obtaining your master's degree, it wasn't easy, right? It was a lot of studying and it required a lot of motivation and energy. And especially for you, you did most of your master's degree in a time of pandemic, so it was especially hard. That's also why I'm very proud of you that you worked so hard to get this paper, and why I'm glad that I'm here in person and able to congratulate you, but also that you are here able to also celebrate this with your families and other close by to celebrate this precious moment you've had. And you can be very proud of this moment that you've received your master's degree. And I'm sure that your family and friends are proud. But also I'm proud of you, also in the name of GEWIS. And now I would like to pay a little bit more attention to a member who has also contributed a lot to GEWIS. And you've been very active. So I'll now also switch to Dutch for a moment to talk to you. Vie? Ja. Bij GEWIS ben je bijna 8 jaar geleden, het is al een tijdje terug, actief begonnen in de eerstejaarscommissie EEC 15.1. Jullie waren hierin heel actief en jullie hadden zelfs een hele mooie blauwe beer, een soort mascotte. Jullie meenamen naar colleges om andere studenten te enthousiasmeren om ook mee te doen aan de leuke activiteiten en bij GEWIS te komen. Daarnaast heb je ook ingezet als penningmeester van Intro 16, de commissie die de introductieweek organiseert voor alle nieuwe eerstejaarsstudenten. En hier heb je ook goed ingezet en geleerd om met geld om te gaan. Ten slotte ben je ook een bestuursjaar gaan doen bij wervingsdagen. Technisch gezien is dit een commissie van GEWIS, praktisch gezien is het een vrij losstaand orgaan. Maar hier heb je de functie Public Relations en Digital Affairs gehad. En hier heb je zeker ook heel veel van geleerd en laten zien wat je allemaal kan. En dat stukje Public Relations heb je ook doorgezet bij GEWIS door je steentje bij te dragen in C4, de commissie die het contact onderhoudt met allemaal bedrijven. En tegenwoordig ben je niet heel actief meer bij GEWIS, iets meer gefocust op je studie, wat ook belangrijk is. Maar je bent wel actief in een bandje waar je muziek maakt en zingt. Random Precision heet het. En wie weet mogen we ook je al zingen nog een keer verwelkomen op een GEWIS-activiteit. Want afgelopen juni op het gala hebben we daarvan genoten. Dus Vie, bedankt voor al je inzet en harde werk. En het gaat je goed. Ik heb ook nog een klein cadeautje voor je.
Ladies and gentlemen, Masters of Science, with reference to the words of the previous speakers, and on behalf of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, I would like to congratulate you and your families and friends on your degree, and wish you every success and good fortune in your career. The university likes to stay in contact with its graduates. In the material that you have received, there's a reference to AlumniNet, and you are invited to become a member. Finally, I have the obligation to point you to your scientific behavior once you have now received this degree. The scientific degree of master involves duties as well as rights. that as a holder of this degree, you are committed to standards of scientific integrity, trustworthiness, intellectual honesty, openness, independence, and societal responsibility. These standards are described in more detail in the Netherlands Code of Conduct for Research Integrity and in the Eindhoven Code that's based on it. You also have duties towards society. You must be clear about the boundaries of your own expertise. You must communicate honestly and independently about the results of your work, including potential risks associated with it. And you are committed to the ethical codes for research and design involving human subjects or animals. These are serious words, of course, it's also a serious matter. Today is a very joyful day, and I hope that you sincerely, also from my side, I want to congratulate you and hope that you have a very nice continuation of this day. I'm about to close this meeting. Immediately after I close it, we will take a photograph together, and I think that will be somewhere on that side. The photographer will guide us in that. You're also welcome to take a photograph yourself. It's easiest if you do that from that side. And after that, there's a reception. Well, it starts here usually, but up there are drinks and bites for you to share. With that, I would like to close this meeting.